Hi everyone, my name is Sam and I work at Node Guardians. Node Guardians is... I need a spell to buff my charisma skills because I'm totally wrecked. So I'll just try again to compute the next sentences. Yeah, Node Guardians. Okay. Oof, thank you. Thank you for the healing spells. So what is Node Guardians? It is a platform for experienced developers to challenge their skills and achieve meaningful things in the most promising ecosystems, let's put it this way. I like to call it a role-playing game for experienced programmers and security researchers. The flow is extremely simple. You log in with your GitHub or your Web3 wallet, and you have to solve programming challenges that we call the quest. A little bit like in Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter Night or Final Fantasy. There is a story that is tied to each of these quests, and these quests are programming challenges, as I said, and you need to basically achieve something that's specific. You need to write code in order to unlock the end of the story. And based on how your code is, how efficient it is, for example, we could think of something like that, the rewards that you get will vary. And these are proof of skill. You can use them to justify that you're maybe a relevant contributor for that open source repository, like some experiment we've done with the Cairo team, or you can use it for any kind of logic. You want to hire a smart contract engineer. You can just say, if you're not level 8 on Node Guardians, you cannot really apply for that job because we just want to make sure that all the people that we interview are likely to be relevant, to be fit with our criteria. So I'll be sliding through so you have more visuals and maybe a better understanding of how the whole flow works. So you have a quest selector with various topics that are covered, from assembly to Yule to elliptic curve mathematics or how to implement your own curve to diamonds, a lot of gas optimization. If we're talking about Cairo, you can have stuff about bad accounts, orderless hashing, how to implement your own brainfuck VM on top of Starknet. A lot of spicy stuff for you to get closer to production level with that language and get ready to do concrete things. That is to say, contributing to open source, landing a job, as stated earlier. So we have 4 types of challenges. CTF, capture the flag, which are fully on-chain. You just deploy the contract, and we deploy in parallel another contract called the verifier. And your goal is going to be to trigger something on-chain, either breaking that contract, stealing the money that's in there, or manipulating the price oracle. Could be a lot of things. We will just be listening to the chain and verify that you have triggered the right thing on the network. Then you have build. Build is when we need to verify a more intricate logic in your code to check if you've used certain methods or if it really satisfies some very specific criteria. In that case, we'll be writing some Foundry tests to see if your code satisfies everything, and the whole process will be automatic. Resource management, also known as a gas golfing by the OGs. You have an optimization problem, and you need to optimize. You need to have the shortest solution to achieve a certain outcome. And finally, theory. So theory is sometimes, if you want to deal with stealth addresses, for instance, you need to be familiar with elliptic curve cryptography, right? So we also try to provide some resources so that you have the right theory assets before diving into more complex practical topics, right? Okay, quick question, nothing to do with Cairo. Who knows the game? Oh, not bad, not bad, not bad. I thought it was not popular at all in Korea. I should have made it more StarCraft related, but yeah, props to you guys. So that's another glimpse at the interface. You know, that's the contract that you're going to deploy, the inputs, some walkthrough elements, and the whole flow is that you don't go through an IDE or something like Remix. We want the experience to be as close to a production environment. So you just set up your own environment, and then you're ready to code. That's a design chance we've had with the platform, and it's also a point that's good to note when using Node Guardians. Next step, the inventory. So here are the proof of skills. Every time you complete a quest, you get soulbound gold, XP, crafting material, and objects that you can use to equip your character. So you could think as, for instance, I don't know, you are the radius, you're Aave, your compound, and you want to issue your own item to filter out people for your own community. You can say, well, if you're not able to do my CTF, you cannot attend to my event, or you cannot apply to that specific job, or you cannot do this or do that. You can think of all sorts of logic that derive from this inventory system. Another cool thing is that in the very near future, we'll be also able to monitor some of the open source contribution that you do so that it can also change your rank in the leaderboard and enable you to craft more sophisticated items. So if you want to have a dragon, well, you need to have that amount of pull requests merged. And by pull request, I don't mean editing the MD file on certain repositories. So yeah, there is a competitive like ranking logic based on your completion in the game, if you first blood, and very soon your open source activity. And yeah, while solving to basically build some kind of, I don't like to say on-chain resume, but that's a bit what it is. The more elements you have, the fancier armors you have, the best like track record you have, the more solid, the more trustable your profile is, and theoretically, the more things you should be able to achieve or justify with X, Y, or Z counterpart. Okay, so yeah, there's a whole like evolution logic that derives from this, and beyond just being a platform, it's also a community. So we've done some experiments by organizing Starknet CC with Only Dust, and for instance, if you're a scholar, a mage, or a high mage, you don't need to buy a ticket there, even though it's sold out. You could think of a future where if you want to go to certain events or it's CC, if you're a guardian, you bypass the queue, or you can like do things in a different way, access our hacker houses without going through the normal process. And it's basically like being part of a community, and there's something we really attach to at Node Guardians. It's a developer wait. I found the block header. It's a developer. It's a public good. It's a public good from the developer standpoint. So no fluff, no bullshit, no ads, and you're part of a community. You have no obligations in the sense that you don't need to do something back or tweet about something in order to benefit from all of these things that I'm listing here. That's also a very important aspect. We're trying to keep it as no bullshit as possible. And each of your feedback are thoroughly processed so that we can make that product better because we want to build it together. So yeah, that's also a very important aspect. We're trying to make the platform as pure as possible so that it caters and attracts more brilliant people like you. And yeah, we also need your input to achieve that. Contribute to open source. That's the interface and the visual representation of your skills, but the V1 is coming in a few weeks, so it will be much better than this. This is a little bit like obsolete. That's an old slideshow. It's not a pay to win, so you cannot like buy some fancy items and do this. The items are soul bound. And yeah, some statistics. We have about 75 quests created. It takes on average 150 hours to solve them if you're a proficient programmer to finish the whole storyline. And each quest is linked to another. So one quest, one character that you find in one quest, you might find it in another. And quests with multiple endings might become a reality sooner than you think. And if you care about the story, that's something that you might eventually enjoy. And we've had 6,000 quests completed so far and 900 active developers. I know that's always a very tricky notion. What does active mean? It means people who have been completing a quest or pushing code over the last like 4 months or 5 months on the platform. Contribution is also a thing. We are fortunate to have contributors from the Ethereum Foundation, ImmuneFi, and also Ledger, other companies that are shipping like pretty beautiful challenges on the platform. So if you want to collaborate with our team and create amazing stories on the topic of your liking, or even if you're running a protocol, you're building some open source, could be something like Matara, you're building like something in that space, and you want to leverage that engine that we've built to I don't know, to any purpose, to recruit, to upskill, or do something like that, we're also open for conversations. And if you also want to join our team and have a wonderful time with us, we are recruiting actively on the engineering side of things. If that's something of interest to you, I'm more than happy to have a chat after that talk. Next slide. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You'll find all the relevant links to engage with us in this patch of text here. And another thing is that your Node Guardians profile, if you want, is linked to your Discord. And anytime you're encountering any difficulty in the game whatsoever, every engineer at Node Guardians is a customer support specialist. So we'll be more than happy to lend you a helping hand. And the community will also be here to help you. So yeah, we have a Discord, fully no bullshit, technical conversations. And we look forward to welcome you there. And I'm very thankful that you stood with me to listen to that talk, really, from the bottom of my heart. It's not easy. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you.